Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Core Energy Experience. I'm your host, Kurt Bruckmann. I hold my mastery in core energy dynamics. I'm a certified global coach. Our guest today is Lynn Bernstein, conflict resolution coach and author of It's the Thought That Counts. We are here today with Fabio, our co-producer and associate director. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe on whatever platform you are on. We appreciate you. Now, here's our conversation with Lynn Bernstein. Hi, Dana. How are you today? So nice of you to come on.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be with you.
Yeah, so are we. Absolutely. So we'll just get right into it. If you like, could you give us a little background about yourself and whatever timeline you'd like to present would be fantastic.
I am a conflict resolution coach. I help people solve conflict from the inside out. Former life, I was a meeting planner. We own an animal hospital. So I helped build an animal hospital way back when.
Excellent.
I work at Rutgers. I onboard for our fantastic coaching program. So just a variety of things that just made my heart sing as I was getting old.
Older.
Older.
I'd like to say it's older. I kind of say, well, you say that, Chris. Well, old's kind of my last breath. So I kind of look at it that way. And so a little older, a little softer.
There we go.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's the background. It's been very eclectic. I've been very lucky that I've had opportunities that I could just say yes to.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let me ask, what were your triggers? What got you involved into this understanding that you brought forward and have written a beautiful book about?
Well, I started the book because I was bored, which is a very weird way to start. I wasn't planning on starting it, but as I was coaching people, I was noticing there were themes that were propping up, and I figured, all right, this is interesting to develop this a little bit. And one client of mine had asked, do you have anything in writing? And I said, I don't have like many resources to give you on how I coach. And then I was talking to one of my coach friends, and I was bored at the time, and I said, oh, maybe I'll just write a book. And that's how it started. There was not really a big plan. So I started out as a slide deck because that's what I knew how to do. And I put all the copy in the notes section. And then eventually the slide deck grew, and I moved it to the Word document and proceeded from there.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive for sure, and of course very well done. We'll get that towards the end of the podcast here and show around. I have the copyright with me, so I do want to show it to the audience. But anyway, so you have so many excellent points, and the way you spell it out is fabulous. So let's put it into audio here and in the podcast. Of course, we resonate with the purpose aspect of it, your views, and the core energy aspect. Because in the core energy, we start with the four main concentrations, and we break it down from there. But the four are leadership, performance, well-being, and transition. So, that right out of it, you and I certainly can coordinate our understandings there. So it's that, and there's, oh my gosh, there's just so many great things. I'd like you to talk to us about decoupling thoughts, if you will.
So something happens that made you upset, and all of a sudden you have a reaction. And the reason you have that reaction is something in your internal identity got hit. And the idea is to separate the what happened from your thoughts, like they're two separate entities. There's the facts about the thing that was done or that wasn't done, and then you have thoughts about it. And if we think back to all the years that we've been alive, the things that bothered us when we were younger, we look back and we're like, I just rethought that thought. I'm no longer upset about it. We don't carry our upsets from our younger years to the today years. So it's really doing something similar to that process, but in a quicker timeline. To say, okay, I don't need to have that much time elapse before I reframe my thoughts. We reframe thoughts every day about stuff. Something happens and then we get upset and then we're like, oh, wait a minute. I have more data, so let me rethink this. Now we get to rethink on purpose. You have to live between your two ears, and having a cleaner mindset, that thoughtfulness allows you to make peace with the thing that happened, because we can't unscramble eggs, and the thing is happened and it's done, and now where do we go from here? So decoupling is exactly that. It's taking the what happened and saying, ooh, let me give myself a minute, and then thinking about what you're thinking about.
Right. Coming more present to your point, just taking the past as it is and moving forward, not, languishing or harboring or staying there in long periods, right? Get into the action, get going. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, there's a time and a place to be upset, and certainly get upset, feel the emotion. No one's denying that emotion shouldn't be felt. You need to feel them, process them, but you don't need to process them for longer than you think necessary. I mean, some people hold on to their hurt for 10 years.
Oh, brutal.
I know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's really, that whole part of staying in the past and, with the core energy we've understood and push out that, the past hanging on there, we don't understand that energy. The energy's gone from that. We can recall some of it, but that's sort of like dreaming backwards. Yeah. And same as projecting for the future, same thing. And you're sort of dreaming forward. So it's in the moment where everything's taking place, to your point, where all the action is, come forward with it and work through. We're able to work with our issues much more clean at that point. So we get that. Let's move on to your three P's: your pause, your ponder, and your pivot.
So, like I said, something happens and you have that reaction. The best thing to do is just pause and breathe. Accept that the emotions are happening, accept that it might not be fantastic. No one's going to, just be in the moment with yourself. With no other thought, just be in the moment. Allow yourself to feel good feelings, negative feelings. Just that time and place is really important, because you can't move to the ponder piece until you're ready to pause and just accept. So right now I'm going to pause and I'll explain the elephant and the rider, and then we'll move on to the next. So there's an image of an elephant and a rider. The rider is your logical brain, and the elephant are your emotions.
That's great.
And so if your logical brain says, no, I shouldn't get upset about this thing, and your elephant, your emotions are saying, yes, you're correct, I should not be upset about it, and they're walking in the same direction, everything's good, copacetic. When the elephant feels disenfranchised and says, no, I'm going to be upset, the elephant's going to go that way, and your thoughts are like, but come back over here. The rider is this very small character. The elephant is very large. And when the elephant gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it takes up all the thinking room.
Ah, very nice.
So the less thinking room you have, it's just the whole body's filled in with emotions. So you want to pause. You want to breathe. You want to let the elephant run out a little bit, do its thing, get all upset, then say, okay, let's regroup. Because if you suppress an elephant, A, it's not going to work. Elephant's quite large. And B, this is just not how we operate. So let the elephant have its say in the pause stage. Just rest with it and be okay. Then you want to ponder what you're thinking. The words of your identity, that internal who, your values, your pillars, your ideal self, your trigger, the words that make you who you are, that make you tick, are the exact same words that tick you off. So it's a very small...
It's great. So true. It's awesome.
It is. I mean, that's the only reason we think that internal identity was hit. So just look at the words that you've mapped out as that internal identity, and somewhere in there is the culprit or culprits of why you got upset about the thing.
Yeah, it doesn't
right?
help.
Conflict innately is...
I'm sorry, it doesn't help having the inner critic, right, pushing all that behind too.
The inner critic is going to stay there. Your trigger is going to stay there. Just tie her up and put her in the trunk with some duct tape on the mouth and be like, you could sit in the car, but just not too close to me.
Oh, your metaphors are fabulous.
Yeah. So ponder what you're thinking. It's really just a matter of looking at your words. Sometimes your internal conflict is two values fighting. That's happened often when you're indecisive. There's that rub between the two. But the answers will be somewhere in those words. Whether you're not dialed up enough on the good stuff, or you're dialed up too much on the values. So say you have an excellence value, that could be leading you into a situation where you just won't stop moving at work because everything has to be perfect. And then excellence is overused. So again, use your words like levers and then find the right balance that works for you in that moment with that person. So once you discover the why you're upset, just like having a sinus infection, you know, oh, I have a sinus infection. I can name it. I can take the sinus meds. I understand what's going on. There's that self-command. Understanding why you're upset gives you the same self-command. And you're allowed to just say, oh, I know exactly what it is. Now, where do I go from here? And that's where you pivot and put on the best jacket, one of your pillars, who you are as that best self. You can't put on that best self when you're still wondering what happened. Why am I upset?
Exactly. I'm hearing a little bit of what we work with the core energy dynamics is NLP, neuro linguistic programming. Yeah.
Yeah, I am very much wanting to take an NLP class. I need to find a good one. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So stay tuned. That's next year.
Yeah. Right. Well, you're certainly you're applying it already here and certainly in the book you can see some of it as well. But yeah, it's a fabulous thing, as you know, and just for the audience, people know that there's a time use the word goal, and a time the word replace that with intention. And an example would be, I want to lose 10 pounds in 1 week. That's my goal, and I lose 8 pounds. Well, and you get that catabolic drain, that the cortisol dump, sort of deconstructive. I didn't quite make it. I didn't reach my goal. Now, if we replace it with intention, well, we're still successful, and we're successful anyway, even with a goal. But there's less of that catabolic feeling. It's more the anabolic, that feeling constructive dopamine feels like, okay, good. I didn't reach 10, but I did 8. So anyway,
Yeah, any
that
step
helps.
forward is a step forward.
Exactly. And with you
And
on that.
sometimes a step back is a step forward because you're doing the cha-cha. Step a few steps back,
I love
step
it.
forward.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's all movement. Backwards or forwards, you're either learning something or you're making small steps towards the thing that you want.
Oh, it's so true, because we're in constant growth, and in that growth, to your point here, not staying stuck, is this transition. And I see in the book you reference that often enough. So yeah, keep on going, and why? Well, because time's gonna keep moving anyway. And what does time do? It takes us. So whatever we're experiencing in that moment is eventually, sooner than later, going to go away, and we're going to drift into another form of energy and time, and transformation. Yeah. So very
And sometimes
interesting.
sometimes the mountains are there for reasons. I mean, we've all had them. And if you could look at the mountain as just a strength building tool, it reframes it to say, okay, I've overcome challenges before. I'm not so fantastic. I'm doing this again. However, there's purpose in the mountain. And let me figure out what the purpose is. Once I figure that out, then the energy is different. You shift.
Excellent. Yes. And it's very rewarding to when we figure that out, that it empowers us, and it gives us a little more confidence too, I believe, to keep pushing forward. That's another thing in the core energy. We prophesize to, first is the awareness, then the acceptance, then the validation, and with that we start moving into opportunity, and there's choice. But we choose conscious choice, not just choice, not the knee-jerk reaction. Get the conscious choice out there. And then it's, trusting the process through our transition and then into the transformation, which we do constantly, right?
Can I add one in?
Yeah, yeah,
So it's not only trusting your process, I also think you need to trust yourself. Internal,
absolutely.
external, right? There's a process on the outside that's going to bring us to one thing, but trusting that you've always figured it out, like the power in that is incredible.
It really is. And it's interesting. We shy away from that instead of embracing it. To your point, and grow with it, and become empowered. Why not? And you mentioned, everyone, you, I, the audience, everyone has gone through it, and will continue to have things like that happen. their change is inevitable. So, live it and grow it, right? That's
Yeah.
the important
How
part.
boring would life be if we didn't keep evolving, doing the same thing over and over again? There's safety in that, but rethinking thoughts, rethinking actions, it just builds the muscle because life is going to happen regardless of if you want it to or not.
Right. So, we can phrase it like this a little bit. Instead of being uncomfortable, be uncomfortable getting comfortable, and be okay with that. Again, back to your point, trust yourself, and move on with it. Let's go on a little bit to the thought buffet, if you will. Can you describe that to us?
Yes. Sometimes we're stuck with one thought. So the one thought usually will bring you into conflict. Oh, this is making me mad. And you're just replaying the same old song in your head.
Cycling.
And the idea is to repeat the same song in your head or create different versions. And even when you're upset, still try to do that. So one of the exercises in that chapter that you're looking at is to come up with a dramatic thought or come up with a silly thought or a funny thought or an alternate reality thought. Like, just play with it a little bit, because if you could see it, even a 1% difference, like if you're 1% wrong or 10% wrong, or you could see it in a different light, it automatically shifts your thinking. So you're not stuck in the same repetitive loop. I have a few examples in the book, but it really does help to have a variety, and then you choose which one is going to serve you best. Because again, you can't unscramble the egg. The thing happened. You could think about it the same way, but it's not going to change that it happened. And the idea is constantly reframing, so you get back into alignment with what works for you.
Excellent. Very nice. Stress is a perception.
Oh yeah, there's no such thing. No such
Yeah.
thing as conflict either.
Oh, so let's go there. That's great. So,
Yeah.
you brought me into when I was reading the book, you brought me in pretty quickly. Of course, a lot of it resonates with me as I was going through it, but in this particular area too. So let's go there a little bit, Dana. And
So
yeah,
so when I had my first child, and I would go to ShopRite and I would put her in the basket, and then I'd be, how do people do this? This is absolutely lunacy. Like, where do I put the food? I have no idea. So anyway, and I remember thinking this, like, this is impossible. And then I had kid number 2.
how far
And
apart?
I'm like,
How
what
far
was I
apart?
complaining?
May I ask how far apart?
17 months.
Oh my goodness.
But then I was like, what was I complaining about the first one? Going ShopRite with 2 of them is absolutely impossible. But then think about people. I had a girlfriend who had 4. Like, what do you even do with that many? And so for me, just thinking about that would stress me. And she had 4 girls.
Oh my gosh.
I
God
know.
bless
I
her.
have 1 girl. So crazy enough. But
You have
stress-
one of each.
I have 1 of each.
Difference, isn't it interesting? Male, female. Definitely.
Holy cow.
Right?
I have daughter sparkle. I have like my daughter sparkles here, and now my son is giving me the lines going on here. So yeah, no, they're fun. They're a good group of people. But it's really a perception, because when I thought of just the one kid, I was in one mindset, and then the second one, I was like, oh, why was I even thinking that? We start out with work. For those who don't have kids, you start out sometimes with one project. You're like, I can't believe this. This is incredibly difficult. And then 2 years later, you have like 9 of those projects. And you're like, I can eat those for breakfast.
Eat those for
Right?
breakfast.
So it's stress is made up. We make it so this thing is going to be an extra thought. So here's your challenge. Right? Every day we overcome them. Those are the thoughts on top of the challenge. So when we're thinking that I can't do this, this is too much, I don't know what I'm doing, you're adding layers of thoughts to a thing that you'll eventually figure out. Maybe not in a moment, maybe it takes a little bit more moments, but eventually you'll figure it out. You always have. So it's identifying the thoughts that stop you, the thoughts that are causing you stress, and saying a mantra or something that's going to calm your elephant down. Sometimes I have a lot going on at one time, and I'll just be like, one step at a time, just one step at a time. And I'll just remind myself, can't boil the ocean, and it just brings me back to base.
Very good. It is a lot about that, isn't it? It's again, it's so interesting. We all have these tools and these availabilities, and I call them sort of the experience toolbox. You were discussing that a little while ago. That we have these availabilities to us, so let's get up and use them. We've been through it before, to your point, in a different way, and it's always going to be a little different than it has been. But we're prepped, right? We have the tools for it, for sure.
We have to believe we have the tools, though.
What's that?
We have to believe we have the tools. I think
And
that's the entire battle, is the
right.
belief in ourselves that we could figure it out.
And what would you say perpetuates that belief in ourselves?
It's the repetitive loop of, and I'm not good enough, I'm not. Just the trigger at you is it could be very loud, and
Right.
it stops you from realizing that you've done it before.
That's right. It's really interesting. We're interesting creatures, aren't we? To say the least. The resilient part of the aspect of your book, that's one of your underlying themes I see. Can we talk about that a bit and what that means to you and what it means to your clients and how you put it out to the world, please?
Resilience is just reminding yourself that you've done it before and just taking that baby step, like you were saying. Even if you're not at 10 pounds, you're at 8. It's reminding yourself that you've done it before, that you could do it again. And it's allowing yourself to stay down for a moment when you're upset, sad, the elephant has its say, but then getting your sea legs underneath you and saying, okay, let's go on.
And keep it going, taking that action. Definitely.
Action actually helps you because it puts almost an exclamation point at the end of the sentence, because
Sure.
it's not only just thinking it, it's tangibly doing something, saying something, doing something. And then once you figure out that feels good, there's a payoff. So it might not feel great like in a moment, but then you're like, ooh, wait a minute, this is feeling okay. And then you just keep moving. Small steps.
Yes, exactly. We do tend to look for the giant leaps, don't we?
Yeah, I saw a great meme the other day. There was a ladder, and the ladder had like rungs that were very far apart. And they said sometimes the rungs need to be closer together. So if you're looking at rungs that are too far apart and your leg can't go from here to here, just go from here to there or there.
It's just that basic. I won't say
Not
simple
basic.
because, I don't want to break it down as nothing's really simple, so to speak, but basic. Yeah, definitely. The exercise, the power to choose. Let's go there. I find that very interesting too, because we are always at choice. And as you heard me mention, conscious choice is the preferable of the two, of the choice versus conscious choice. So the exercise of power to choose.
Yeah. Unless you don't give yourself choice, which keeps you stuck in the loop. And the thought buffet, the power to choose which thoughts will work. It all comes down to choice. The bottom line is always choice. You could choose to stay stuck. Stuck is a choice. And sometimes stuck is where you need to be. Just to marinate, just to get your feet underneath you, just to think about your thoughts or feel your feels. But you always have a choice.
We're
You're not a tree.
fortunate to have
There's
that
a
part, right?
Yeah. There's I don't remember who said it, but someone said if you don't like where you are, just move. You're not a tree.
It's great. It's great, isn't it? It's so
Yeah.
true. I find for myself, if I start to get stuck just at home or at work or wherever it might be, to get up and move from one point A to go to point B, and it could only mean a few steps, and take a different, look at where we are, a different visual, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. Just helps. It helps us,
Yeah.
to understand that we can shift and we can do it whenever we like. It's just get that doing going, right?
Yeah. Getting the mindset to say, okay, I'll just stand up, I'll crawl, I'll just do something. And then that might prompt another thought. And
Yes.
one thought at a time. Doesn't have to be all the thoughts at once. It could just be a smaller rung that you're going to.
That's the internal discipline we need to practice.
And it has to be intentional, because the same old is, it's so easy to stay in the habit of doing the same thing over and over again.
Oh,
It's like, and I was saying this to a girlfriend the other day. I like to cut things down. I like to do a lot of demo. But anyway, if you've ever cut down a tree with a saw, and not like a power saw, but like a handheld saw, the tree is the saw is cutting in the tree, and you get a certain way through, and the saw automatically gravitates to where that first cut is. So if you're making another cut, you have to be very intentional about cutting the other part of the tree. And then the saw bends and it's like, well, I want to go back to the original cut. But you have to keep bringing the saw back to the new cut and say, we have to be intentional about cutting here and creating a new pathway. Because the old pathway is very comfortable, it's very familiar, it's like all the way through or a lot of the way through. Starting from scratch again and having to remind yourself that you have to start from scratch again takes a lot of intention.
ooh, definitely. Some willpower, for sure. There's a lot of good points you have, and you already expressed them here, so we're progressing nicely. So if you don't mind, I'm going to keep up the pace because you're right there with it, and I appreciate that. And your metaphors are fabulous, by the way. I've mentioned that before. You discussed being vulnerable. I think that's a very important thing. Can you bring that out here to the audience, please?
What else is there to say? I mean, the more you put that wall up, the more it stays up. And reaching out to your community, reaching out to other people, reaching out to your own self, your own truth, it requires a certain set of certain vulnerability. If you're not vulnerable, it's not, you don't have that stickiness to grow. It's that internal piece that you want to get through. You don't want to just keep the wall up and say, let me just climb over it. Maybe there's an issue. We have so much to learn from one another. We have so much to learn about our own selves. We don't all have all the answers. People do things so differently. Even driving to the store, someone says, oh, did you take the back route? What's the back route? Oh, it's this way. Every day we can learn stuff that is brand new. It's just a matter of quieting the noise and listening, either to yourself or to others, and seeing where the pearls are. And that requires you to be vulnerable, because you might have, like, oh, I have to prove that I'm strong. I have to prove that I'm something. There's no proving. It's just humanness.
Yes, as humans being humans. It's so exciting to be vulnerable. As I learned, as I started growing and maturing in my 20s, so to speak, I discovered that it's exciting, and if we do it with, as you've been mentioning, intentions, a word that's very empowering, with intention, is rewarding, certainly. But it is that availability to, undress ourselves, if you will, and be vulnerable to whatever is out there. Because we have to remember, we can work the situation accordingly. We have that in us to do so. But it's good to see what's happening on the other side. And back to your thoughts about, other people. As you know, we don't succeed in isolation. So that collaborative work that we're able to do with meeting someone or listening to someone say, did you go the back route to the grocery store? Things like that are very invaluable. And if we're not vulnerable, to your point, then where does the value come? And how do we have that? So let's go to the be curious part of your whole concept.
Yeah. I mean, curiosity is going to lead you to have new thoughts. It's allowing yourself to think differently. It's allowing yourself to listen and be present. You can't grow without the curiosity to say, let me try something new. I was at the gym the other day. I'm on a weight loss mission. So, yeah, I know. It's
Good.
crazy. So,
Good time to
getting
do
older.
it. End of the summer.
Yes, exactly. But so I drive to the gym, and the gym, I don't know, I have to check how many miles, but it's not that far. And I was thinking to myself yesterday, what if I walked to the gym instead of drove? I'm not talking in like bad weather, whatever, but incentivize good weather. What can I do on the half an hour walk to the gym or whatever it is, and then come back? Get curious. Let's try it. What's the worst thing that can happen? I can call a girlfriend and say, okay, I don't want to walk the other 20 minutes. Go pick me up.
There you go. That's what we discussed. There's always an out. There we can always find somewhere to maneuver,
Exactly.
to place ourselves. Just got to be in that motion.
And you
100%.
have to be in the mindset to say, let me try something totally different.
Definitely. Dana, when you are working with groups, and you mentioned Rutgers, can you tell us how that is? Are you at the school physically? Where are you when you're working with groups, or even your one-on-ones, or however that
Well, I'm
is?
usually one on one with my clients. At Rutgers, we have a coaching program. So we
Yes.
train coaches how to, it's a level 2 program, it's fantastic. And we train coaches on how to be a coach. And so we bring groups in and we do the training and then they go off. I feel like I'm planting seeds of goodness all over the place. I have a whole new crop of people coming in and it's like, oh, they're going to be helpers of the world. Nothing better.
That's so great. Working in the academia world is just it gives that availability, and to be able to embrace it like that's great. Tell me, have you seen a change in the desire to come in and understand what coaching means? And certainly your program is very extensive, but do you see more participants, less participants than when you first started?
Oh, definitely more. The
Oh, that's
coaching
great.
mindset is going all through leadership at this point. It's not a top down. It's let me get curious about why this employee, why this person is stuck doing the thing. And when they learn to have that coaching mindset, that curiosity, and they're dialing themselves up to say, okay, I'm not going to just tell the person what to do because maybe their performance is not going to change. How do I deal with this a little bit differently? How do I help them get better at doing their job? And that coaching mindset is really critical to be a very good leader. It's being present, it's listening, and it's a skill that you could master.
Yes, and to the point of leadership, we all have that availability. It's just deciding whether or not we want to execute and how we want to execute it.
Mm-hmm.
So having someone like you, be a bit of a front runner there is very helpful. What's the age group that you see are really feeling it, the desire to be more involved and knowledgeable about it? Is there a particular one, or how is that? Yeah, at,
Now,
at, at Rutgers.
when I did the coaching program, I had someone in my class, I think she was 35 or 36,
Wow.
and the oldest was 72.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I was 49. I had a lot of my girlfriends in the class were in the early 60s. I mean, it really goes all over the map. And we're still close today. I mean, we did the cohort together. It's just a great community.
I'm so happy to hear that because we need more of it, as you know, particularly in today's world. You and I have
Hmm.
seen enough in our past, but it's so fast now. With the internet, having gone from the analog and remember 2000 YK, everything's going to go dark. Oh my gosh, you all living in fear.
I know.
Just ridiculous. But and then obviously the internet came along and things started making things quicker and faster, and then we had that pause with the COVID, the pandemic, and that really brought everyone into thinking more and more about themselves, as we know. And now the AI is behind. Coming out of the pandemic, everyone's starting to get readjusted, and now AI is coming full force. So we've seen a lot of changes you and I have in our life, but I don't think any as quick as we've seen recently.
No, no. It's a whole new world we're going to be navigating.
Yes,
Fun, scary, but it's not going to stop. It's not going away.
right. Are there any of the younger groups that are working with you? You said 35 to 72.
No, usually just we at Rutgers, the program is for people who have the business acumen. So 7 years out of school, in or about.
That's good. That's great. Very happy to hear that. We're trying to also reach into the generations a little below that as well to help see
Hmm.
them. We're getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
The generations below are really starting to understand how important it is to understand ourselves, as you pointed out earlier, and how do we operate, in the world as it is to our desired energy and what that means. So they're more contemplative a bit about what everything in life, the who, if you will, and you point that out in your book as well. So it's nice to feel the energy range is quite large. I think it says a lot about the appetite for what's going on out in our world today.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And anyone could do the exercises in the book. My daughter did them. She's 20. She'll be 23 next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
congratulations!
And
Yeah,
thank you. She
yeah.
called me, I don't know, a few months ago. She says, I think I know why I'm upset. What were my values again? I think it's independence that got it. I was like, yes. But
That's
at this
great.
age, she knows what makes her mad.
That's very good. She's blossoming, right? She's coming out,
Self-command is a wonderful thing.
isn't it? Really, it really is, isn't it? That age group, the early 20s to the latter 20s and early 30s are very interesting these days. And there's no longer passive aggressive. They're a little more aggressive about wanting to understand what's going on with themselves and, of course, what's going on around them, much more than ever before, which is needed, right? How's all this AI going to, how do we work with that? First, we get swarmed with the, all the updates of the internet world constantly, and now the AI. So, what is your take on all these transitions that have happened? And let's take it from the end of the 90s, the analog period is starting to dissipate, and then the internet world kicks in. What are your thoughts on all of this?
I think change has been happening since the dawn of time,
Yes, indeed.
and we just have to roll with it.
When people bring up fear, how do you explain that away? Or how do you work with that? Like have people knowledgeable to work with fear?
It's understanding where the fear is coming from. Is it a reality or a perception? In most cases, it's a perception. There is some reality.
Yes.
And, okay, let's make a plan for that reality. And if it's a perception, how do you shift the perception? Is it something that you can control? Is it something that's out of your control? So again, conflict is that mountain. The more you could break it down into smaller bites, the easier it is to overcome.
Right.
So don't make a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, it's sort of easier said than done. It's
It is.
yeah.
It is, but there's fear that warns you and fear that stops you.
Oh,
And again,
absolutely.
if you could break it into two, that's the easier way to look at it. Is this thing stopping me? Is this fear warning me?
Absolutely. When we work with fear and core energy, we use an example, and a metaphor is an alarm clock. It's an alarm clock letting you know fear's coming, and you can't do anything about it. It's going to show up, and you're going to have to, work with it. So why not accept it instead of trying to forcibly dodge around it or put it at bay? Because it's not going to stay there. It's coming, and it's that availability to say, okay, fear, come on in. I'm going to accept you. I'm aware. I'm going to accept it. And now I'm going to work with you, and then you're going to go. You're going to go away.
But look how many times we've operated with fear and done the thing. I mean, when we were first learning how to walk, when we were first learning our new jobs, anything that we're doing, there's always fear because it's not known. Whenever you're walking across the door of, the floor of the unknown, it gets a little tricky. But it's always been there. We've always done the thing that we wanted to try, which is even walking to the gym. Am I going to succeed? Am I going to get tired when I walk? What about coming home? Am I going to be exhausted? Just do it. Just try it. If you don't like it, don't do it again. Or try it a second time to see if the first experience was not great for a certain reason.
Definitely shift it. Keep in, and see that. I guess most of the audience wouldn't understand manual cars, stick shifts,
6 shifts.
right?
Yep.
Weren't we busy learning how to drive?
Oh,
Clutch,
I
brake,
gas.
gas.
I was dating someone, and I asked him if I could try the drive the stick shift as I was like grinding the gears.
Oh, the clutch, the clutch. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not
That's sort
really.
of we're coming on a little metaphor here, if I may. That's sort of the pause that you look at, right? That clutch. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but his car was a Triumph, so I'm thinking
Oh,
he
they're
was.
beautiful.
Well, he's like, maybe you shouldn't be driving this.
Going to grind the transmission to oblivion.
Yeah, yeah, that was a very quick trying of that. Then it was done. But yeah, so when you're stuck in the middle and you're trying to get to the next gear, what do you do?
You shift. That's how it is. Again, that's the beauty of time. That's why time is our friend too. Because it's going to change, and that we can't stop. So working with time and engaging it is very useful and empowering. Again, it's bringing in our sort of success posse of tools, I like to call it. It's gathering that, the information that's really serving us and being able to apply that. And to your point, if it's not applicable, then we can, move away from it. We've already done it. To your point, you can't unscrambled eggs, but it's already done. But we don't have to stay and still work with that type of attitude. We can learn from it and move on. Certainly. What what stimulated you to come into the coaching world? It's not so easy, from the outside in. Of course, I like to say that life coach, we can all sort of be a life coach to a point, but then there's that real deep dive, which you are and you are doing, and obviously again in the book. But anyway, so what was? Remember, we're multidimensional, so there's not one point. And I like to say that too. So there are many, but what were some of the things that stimulated you to come into the coaching world?
It wasn't a plan. My boss said, "Hey, do you want to take this class?" And I said, "Sure." And that's how it happened. I had a master's in conflict resolution. I did other classes in self-awareness. I was onboarding for our coaching program,
Wow.
and he offered me the opportunity, and I jumped in, not really ever having a thought about doing it, and I did it, and it was fantastic. It opened up this entire new world of listening, of being present, of having patience.
Yeah, yeah. The conflict resolution. How did you walk into that? I mean, that's a lot of people shy away from that, but it's certainly very curious and interesting for me, and I'm sure a lot of the audience. So, what was that about?
Well, it all started by me sitting next to this guy on a train.
Really, I love it.
There's always a story somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting next to this guy in a train, and I'm going into an interview in the city. I was in my, mid-20s, whatever it was, and we started talking, and one thing led to another, and we became friendly, just chit-chatting.
Sure.
And I was telling him, I was thinking maybe law school. I wasn't sure. I used to teach contract law and negotiations. I'm not a lawyer, but I love contract law and negotiations. So I was having a good time with that. And I wasn't so sure. And he says, "Why don't you try this master's at Montclair?" And that's what happened.
That was it.
Just being open to different ideas, being open to different people, allowing other people to say, "Well, I'm not so sure about this," and seeing that vulnerability, again, like you brought it up.
Yeah.
If you're vulnerable, you share. And when you share, you get so much back in gifts.
Yes.
So I've been very lucky, very lucky.
Well, it sounds like Dana is part of your core. It's certainly part of you. When we talk about the book before we sign off, people are going to see that. You put a lot into it. You're very knowledgeable. No two ways about that. And your approach is, different, which is great. This is what we want as coaches, to give people the availability to work with different attitudes and different frameworks and things of that nature. Certainly. So, wow, it's so nice having you and talking with you. Let's talk about one thing, and then I'm going to ask you a question, and then after that we'll promote your book a little bit here and ask where we can find you. So, you have this wide range of people that you deal with. Is there a certain base that you find resonates with all ages? or not?
Humanness.
Let's just go there, huh?
Humanness. It's humanness. It's always about the humanness. When you
Explain
keep
humanness. Explain humanness to us, please.
looking at people's insides, not, I mean, not in a weird way, but just seeing their essence, seeing who they are, seeing what their values are, seeing their best self shine show. I mean, all of that stuff is just, if you focus in on that, the outside stuff just melts away. You know, if they're from this background or this background or this job, you're just focusing on human connection. And that's the only thing that matters when I'm teaching contracts, when I'm teaching negotiations. It's all that humanness, because if you don't have it, you can't get ahead. You can't build the thing that you want to build without that relationship. Relationships with yourself and with others are the key. And I think people are starting to realize that, or they have been realizing it, but that's what I think people have seen all throughout, is just being themselves.
Tremendous point. Really, really spectacular. And I resonate with you all the way there. You know, be yourself. In fact, I used to drive my children crazy, and I probably still do, and others, close friends, and sometimes even with work. When I write the word be, I put it in capital letters, because to me that's where it all starts, and that's how it is. You know, so yeah, you're very special, Dana, and you know, Dana, and I really appreciate that for your rawness today and your authenticity. So we're just about at the end, and I'd like to ask you one last question, if I may, and is so right now you're a white sheet, blank piece of paper. The world is very tumultuous. We're in major flux, change, major energy shifts going on. What would Dana like to see in the world today?
Everyone identify and use that best self as the template. That's it. Once you're grounded, the outside stuff's the outside stuff. If you could be grounded in who you are, it's just going to make the world a better place. I'm still in Girl Scouts. It's our motto. It's what I believe. The only way to make the world a better place is to just use the gifts that you have. Be who you are, live your values, be that best self, but you need to identify those words in order to then do that. And what would the world look like if everyone operated according to those values, their values, individual, that best self?
Excellent. Stay away from the noise. A lot of noise out there.
The noise has always been there.
Yes.
You get to choose if you want to listen to it or if you just want to live your truth and be around those others who also do the same.
Success posse. I like to use that whenever I can. Excuse me. Anyway, you have been an absolute pleasure. Fabulous content. So happy to have you. Alex and I are looking forward to it, and it's been very special today. So before we sign off, if you will, here I'm going to put it up. This is Dana's book. There it is.
Cover.
Yeah. It's very special. I recommend it to everyone. I don't care what you do or you don't do. This is a book to have in hand. It's very special because you can read it in full many times over, or you can read it in pieces and you can keep it framed, but it's there for you. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge, a tremendous amount of framework that is spelled out in language that we all understand and language that we are striving to use for us as individuals and to collaborate with other people. So really, really suggest it. Dana, if you will, let the audience know where we can find you, how we can connect with you, and also get the book, and however you like that to be, please.
The book is available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble. You can request it from your library. You can visit mywhothoughts.com, and then I have information if you want to contact me. LinkedIn is always great, too. So,
very good. Well, there you have it, audience. What a fabulous day today. And we thank you for coming on board, and we thank you for your time and energy. And remember, the mind is your power. Stay empowered.